and welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep with me, Tom. Now, around December time, which is now, I normally get asked to review and show you a huge number of products and services. And well, to be honest, most of them I turn down as they're just poor or not really relevant to what we do here on Wi-Fi sheep. But a few do pique my interest and I think are worth having a look. So, returning to the channel with a new single board computer are our friends at BPi. You might remember right at the start of the year we looked at their expanded Pi Zero offerings. If you've never heard of BPi before, well, they are the original Pi clone company, producing their own Pi branded single board computers around the same time as the Raspberry Pi launched back in 2012. However, since then, they have gone on to develop new and interesting products, including features we are still yet to see on the Raspberry Pi. This is the new BPi-M4 Berry, designed to be compatible with the Raspberry Pi 3 form factor, whilst giving us upgraded features such as 2 GB of RAM and 8 GB of eMMC flash storage, meaning after OS install, you don't actually need a micro SD card to boot the M4 Berry. Very useful. Okay, so let me show you this first. This was the one from last time. This was the BPi BPi-P20, and you can go and watch the full review for that, which is still on the channel. This was the one we looked at the beginning of the year, and today this is the new one that's been sent. This is the BPi BPi-M4 Berry, which is the upgrade on the M2 Berry, which was their previous model. So the box is very smartly presented, as you might expect. Single board computer, more information. It gives you the BPi Wiki, which we'll be looking at very shortly, and you have a sort of schematic print of the board itself. And yeah, it's tidy, not a lot on there, but yeah, it's a tidy, very, very professional, very smart looking box. But what's inside? Got a anti-static bag wrap, and there is the BPi Berry M4, or M4 Berry I should say. Let's see, we get some scissors or something on that. Get into the bag. There we go. And there we are. So a very interesting device. Let's just go over a few features. So the footprint of the board is nigh identical to Raspberry Pi 3. And I do actually have a Pi 3 here. So you can actually see that the two are basically identical size for size. We've also got all the common ports that we'd expect to see actually on the board. So we've got a full-size HDMI. Thank you so much. Not the mini stuff that I just, you know, if you're a regular to the channel, I hate these mini HDMI ports. We've got a full-size, full-fat HDMI port, and we've got a yes, we've got a mixed AV port. One thing it has changed is the inclusion of USB-C, which means that our stock Raspberry Pi power supplies should work fine on this board to power it. We also got an infrared sensor here, which is new for BPi. We've also got buttons. So we've got button for reset, which is here, and user, which is there. We've got a full stack GPIO, 40 pin, doing what we'd expect GPIO to do. The pin out is exactly the same as it is on Raspberry Pi. We've then got here, this is the separate Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module, which in this one is actually soldered on the board. I believe you can get these boards without these on, I think. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, it's got a couple of very interesting features on this board, stuff that actually Raspberry Pi doesn't have. But the thing to remember here is that it is in the same footprint as the Raspberry Pi 3, but it is a lot more powerful than the Raspberry Pi 3. Hence my thinking of this board being an ideal, almost drop-in replacement if you want to do a power upgrade on a legacy fitting machine. That's something I want to look at a little later in the video. What's really nice about the board, if we just turn it over, is it also has, as well as the SD card, which you'd expect, it also has support for eMMC, and these particular units come with 8 gigabytes of eMMC. That's onboard flash storage, meaning that once you've done the initial setup, and we have this with the Banana Pi P20, that you could actually install your Linux operating system straight onto the board, and then you don't need to boot from an SD card. It runs faster, it also frees up an SD card, and that's a feature of these boards that I really do like, and even with Pi 5 is still sadly missing. So let's head over to the Banana Pi Wiki, and here is the page for the BPi-M4 Berry, and it gives you a basic breakdown of what's what on the unit itself. So it gives you the introduction, and it gives you the key features. So the all-winner H618 quad-core ARM Cortex A53 processor. Not familiar with the H61. That is or H618, I should say. That's a new set. Normally we get sort of like the H3s or H2 pluses, so that's a new one. We have the ARM Mali G32 CPU. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are included. We have 2 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes of eMMC flash storage. That is the on-chip space, allowing you to write an operating system and have a filing system without the need for long-term SD card use. We've got 1x USB 2 Type C, and we've got 4 USB 2 Type A. So the USB ports on this are just USB 2. We have 1 full-size HDMI cable, and we do have the audio and TV jack, so I beg your pardon, it is capable of composite out. And we have the 1 gigabyte Ethernet port for network communication. And it shows you, here's a diagram of where everything is on the actual product itself, and those 2 user keys. Now, interestingly here, it actually gives a sort of cross comparison between the M4 Berry versus the Raspberry Pi 4B. And it shows you the variations of which Cortex processor is being used, available RAM, etc, etc. So it swings around about. But saying that, the Banana Pi M4 Berry does do some features and stuff that the Raspberry Pis, even the latest versions, still, at time recording, don't do. It also gives you the full GPIO header, which is the same and is compatible. So in a number of cases, Raspberry Pi hats and things will work with the Banana Pi pretty much straight out the box if you've got the drivers loaded and you're running kind of the stock Linux operating systems. And talking of operating systems, right down here at the bottom, we have got the filing systems that we can use, or the operating systems, I should say. So Ubuntu, and we've got 2 versions. We've got one which is Ubuntu Jammy Desktop XFCE, and that's the one I'm going to pick because I do want to have a graphical user desktop. So let's go over to the Google Drive and let us download. And we click to download anyway, and we'll let that download. Okay, so before we do anything, I just want to see if, just by chance, there is an operating system already on here. Now, when we did the previous Banana Pi Zero product, there wasn't, and we had to flash something, which is fine. We've now downloading the image. But let's just see what happens if we try to power up, because I'm just curious, just to see what happens. So we'll plug in HDMI. That's going to my capture card, so you'll be able to see what's on screen as I see it. As I mentioned, we're going to use a Raspberry Pi 4 power supply. There we go, that connects in like that, no problem. And better add a mouse and keyboard, because you never know. My super annoying little mini keyboard, that'll do the trick. I say annoying because it's it's useful, but it's uncomfortable to type on, but it's ideal for this. So let's plug that in as well. Honestly, don't know what to expect here, but let's see. So let's power up. There we are, green light. Yes, as expected, I don't think we're going to get much of anything. Let's just try power cycling that. Okay, so on its own, it doesn't do an awful lot, it would appear. So we'll need to flash an operating system to it. There's two ways of doing this. The way I like to do it is via micro SD card. And I have here a fresh, unused micro SD card. This is a 32 gig card. So we'll pop that over into my Mac. And we're going to go and flash the image that we have just downloaded from the Banana Pi Wiki. Okay, so here we've got Balena Etcher. This is my favourite tool to use, and you can download this for Mac, PC and Linux systems. So very simple to use. My micro SD card is actually now in my Mac here. I just got to select which file to flash. And here is the dot image, so I'll open that. Select the target, my mass storage device, select and flash. Okay, so that's going to take a few minutes, so we'll come back when that's finished. Okay, so that took a little while, mainly because Blender likes to do a verification of what you've just written to the micro SD card, which I actually do recommend you do let it check that. Right, so that's now done. So the micro SD has been ejected. Let's just head over back to here. So here should be the Ubuntu image for the Banana Pi-M4 berry. And just need to remember where the... Oh, that's another thing I noticed actually. The micro SD card slot has moved slightly. It's not quite in the same place as it is on a Raspberry Pi, but it is roughly there. It's just over a little bit. So let's pop that card in. Oh, it's got a click fit. That's nice. So it's a click fit SD card. I like those because it means you know if it's actually in or not. Okay, so that's done. I guess let's try a second power up and see if we're a little bit more successful. Now we've got an operating system to boot to. Okay, so power up. Oh, that looks promising. That looks very promising. We have an operating system image. Fantastic. Now, as always with these type of images, the first boot is normally the slowest because it has to unpack things, set up a filing system, etc, etc. So this isn't a fair or realistic assessment of the boot speed. So what we'll do is we'll just get this to set up, and I guess we'll do another boot just to see how fast it is booting from the SD card. I see a cursor. That's always a good sign. Ah, there we are. So we're going straight into the XFCE desktop. There we are. And obviously I will need to set up the Wi-Fi. Probably is the first thing I need to do, unless we hard cable in. Let's just have a quick look. Applications. So it's pretty much the standard stuff you'd expect. So now there's a few extra things on here. Yeah, okay. Quite an extensive settings set up on this as well. And I've got Genie IDE, which is my favourite for coding, etc. What's the web browsers? Internet, FileZilla. Don't know actually. What is the stock web browser on this? Have we not got a web browser? Okay, how have we not got a web browser? Oh, okay. Oh, that's unusual. It's interesting how it says about software needs to be updated. How it knows that, I don't know, but it can't know it because we're not connected. So let's just connect first of all. So it's instantly found. So the Bluetooth is on. It's instantly also found here. Network, and there is my network, which has found no problem. And just need to put my security key in that I constantly keep forgetting. We've done a number of these reviews now, and every time I need to tap my Wi-Fi in, and I never ever have the password to hand, which is my own fault and slightly annoying. So let's just find that password. So as you saw, I've now installed the Chromium web browser. So we go web browser, we now have Chrome actually installed, but we've had to do that ourselves manually. That's fine, it's done now. Now I probably do need a little aerial for the Wi-Fi because it's just picking up from the little metal clip at the moment. It is working though, but it's a very, very weak signal. So let's go and just try out YouTube. Oh, there we are. YouTube.com/Wi-Fi sheet. It's almost like I've been here before. There we go. And there's a little intro video. The sound you're hearing is... Wi-Fi sheet Tech. Turn me down. The sound you're hearing is through the monitor. So if it sounds a little bit clunky, that's why. Let's just... frame rate's not amazing on that. That's at 240p. I mean, it's watchable. It's alright when you go into a smaller window space, but yeah. By the way, my the Christmas lineup is now up on the channel. I can't remember what the first one. Oh, it's the Advent, isn't it? From last year.
Job done. Perfect. So
sponsors? No, not sponsors. Go away. This was last year.
Hello, good morning, and Merry Christmas to you. Welcome back to Wi-Fi.
I mean, it works.
An awful lot of anything.
That is quite low resolution though, in order to work. And I don't know if we... Oh, that's gone right down. If we got to full 720p, what does it do?
And I can't wait to see what the final project is going to be right here on the channel. And it brings the...
No, it's all right actually.
However, before we continue, I just want to tell you about this year's amazing Christmas offers.
Yeah, it's actually all right. I don't know why it was saying it was struggling. So actually, I've just turned it up manually, and it seems absolutely fine. So, yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Let's go back. So, but yeah, that seems... I mean, it's usable. As I said, it's usable, and the web browsing experience is perfectly usable. Using the Chromium sort of open source, free open source version of Google Chrome, which is kind of my preferred browser. So yeah, that's installed and worked absolutely fine. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room. The M4 Berry is not the fastest single board computer on the market right now. And yes, I agree, it is lacking in a few areas. But if processing power is not your main concern, then it does fill a much needed hole in the market, especially if you're looking to upgrade a device or product that requires an earlier Raspberry Pi form factor before that of the Pi 4 or 5. Right, so I've just powered back down for a minute. I'm just going to unplug everything off the M4 Berry. So I want to try something. So, now I mentioned how this has basically roughly the same footprint as Raspberry Pi 3, but it is considerably more powerful than the 3. I'm just wondering if that will actually fit inside a Raspberry Pi case. What do you reckon? So this is the official Raspberry Pi case. And let's just pop the sides off. Okay. What do we reckon? Sort of, but the SD card is in slightly the wrong place. So without the SD card, it does actually fit. But you can see how it's slightly misaligned. But let's just try seeing if the rest of it would actually go in. So far so good. Blanking plate fits. Now, how does this work? Does it work? Oh, it's so close, but obviously because the connector is a little bit different on the outside, it doesn't quite go. But if you left that off, put the top on, that would actually work. And I guess if you really wanted to, you could actually do a little bit of modification and you could actually make that fit. And no one would actually be any the wiser as to what it actually was until they look it off and go, that doesn't look right. And you can go, no, because we have upgraded. Now, I've been able to think about what the Banana Pi M4 Berry could actually be used for and what it would be good for. If you had legacy hardware, such as this Pi-Top Seed desktop computer unit, which is a screen and basically an enclosure for a Raspberry Pi, well, these basically don't work with anything other than the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. Because if I slide this open, you'll see these have two boards inside. They have a custom controller board from Pi-Top and they have the Raspberry Pi, which they use. Now, the connectors are basically set up for Raspberry Pi 3. So you can't, for example, put Raspberry Pi 4 in without changing the connectors. And there's loads of examples of this kind of earlier legacy hardware that kind of can't be upgraded very easily unless we've got some kind of drop-in replacement that does have more processing power. So I will level with you, this is something of an experiment. I have no idea how well this is going to work, but let's give it a shot, see what happens. So let's see if we can take out the Raspberry Pi 3 unit. So you can see that there's these little mounts that it has on the sides. So first thing is, does the mount fit? Yes, sort of. And then it's the case of seeing if we can get this board to sit onto this magnetic tray. And get that to sit just a little bit more forward. Basically, this used a very awkward magnetic clip system, which I'll be brutally honest with you, not a fan of, but let's see if we can get this to fit. Okay, that seems to be locked in okay. So we're going to fit the GPIO header. Back on like so. HDMI lead back in here. Okay. Okay, so let's just get a power supply for this plugged in. This uses its own custom power supply, which goes in there. Again, I stress, this is an experiment. I don't know if this is going to work. But let's put the keyboard and mouse in. Okay, let's power up. And there's this button here that you push on the outside of the case. Oh, screen has come on. Ah, there we go. So bear in mind, this is now running with a board which was never designed to run with. And there we go, and you can see it's actually really quite happy running, and it's accepted the monitor and it runs the display perfectly fine. And yeah, it's actually really quite happy. So I'll bring up Genie IDE, here we go. And that running fine, and the performance on this is actually really quite nice. It's more than sufficient. We've got VCL on here as well, which is good. Office, Word document, LibreOffice, let's find, where is it? There we go, that's, yeah, sufficient. So the slight flicker you're seeing is just the Pi-top seed screen. It's not doing that in person, it's just the refresh rate is a little bit different. Also, my Wi-Fi network has now come up, thank goodness. That helps an awful lot, so the Wi-Fi is working, which is great. And there is the Banana Pi M4 Berry, flashing away nicely. This flasher, by the way, is Wi-Fi activity. So because it's now connected to my local Wi-Fi, that's working really well because it's busy installing at the moment. But this I did think was interesting to show you, just because the idea that you could actually upgrade legacy Raspberry Pi hardware that can only work with, in this case, a Raspberry Pi 3, you can actually upgrade it to something that's nearer a Pi 4 standard using the Banana Pi clone boards and still pretty much do everything you were doing on your Linux Raspberry and Raspberry Pi, just with the Banana Pi's inbuilt OS, which is an Ubuntu-based XFCE desktop. The Banana Pi M4 Berry, a very interesting and capable single-board computing device. Huge fan of the full-size HDMI port, the compatibility with earlier Raspberry Pi form factors, and the 8GB of onboard eMMC flash storage. Why oh why could Raspberry Pi not do this? Anyway, if you're interested, links are in the description to this video. Also, before I go, do check out Wi-Fi Sheep's live stream schedule over Christmas and New Year, including both Xmas and New Year Eve. So I hope you can join me for those. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you real soon right here on the channel. Until next time, thanks so much for your company, and bye for now.